to talk about how you have a woman problem, but are you actually ready for an election? Are you ready, if Andy Burnham did call a snap election, if he became Prime Minister, are you ready to actually go for an election, if you win it, to hit the ground running?
Well, 3 quick points. Number one, no candidate would have beaten Andy Burnham in that election. It was vote Burnham, popular local mayor of Greater Manchester, get Starmer out. And yes, Kenyon said some things, the sort of things that get said in pubs by blokes that have had a few pints, all right? I'm not condoning it in any way, but that is just the fact of where it is. Second point, do we have a woman problem? Well, we've got very prominent women in our party. We got Dame Andrea Jenkins heading up Lincolnshire as the mayor there, Layla Cunningham lining up to take on Sadiq Khan in London, etc. The third question to answer is, are we ready for a general election? Are we ready to have one tomorrow? Well, no one is. No one is. But have we been making plans in case of this contingency ever since May the 7th? We have, and we've got a couple of thousand people that are going through the process right now. We will be ready whenever it is.
Kemi Badenoch, front page of the Mail on Sunday this weekend, ruling out the possibility of any electoral pact with reform. Can you also rule it out categorically?
Well, as I said a moment ago, it was Kemi Badenoch that could have got rid of 4,000 EU laws as minister.
I mean, you know perfectly well ministers don't have the power. Everything's up to prime ministers.
No,
you know that.
But you know what? It's difficult to do a deal with a party that gave us net zero and wrote it into law. It's difficult to do a deal with a party that promised to do one thing and gave us the Boris wave. So for me, it's about trust. Very difficult to trust them.
That sounds to me like something of a watering down, should we say, a smoothing down of. I mean, a couple of years ago, you were talking about wanting to destroy the Conservative Party.
I never once in my life said that. Not once in my life did I use that word. I said they might destroy themselves. Look, I'm an old city trader, right? I shake hands with people because my word is my bond, and I do it on trust. I couldn't really be clearer. I don't trust them.
OK. Isn't the case that actually an electoral pact before any election would do you both damage? You both want to. We'll see what happens when the next election is. Maybe it's in 2 years' time. Maybe it's sooner. And whoever is riding high in the polls. And we know we've seen a lot of tactical voting in recent years. Maybe, left-wing tactical voting against you guys. Maybe people who would vote Reform or Tories voting for the other party because they think they're a better bet in their constituency. But a pact could actually damage both parties before. After an election, if it were possible to form a coalition government, realistically, you aren't going to say no to a chance to get into government, even in coalition, are you?
And now, enter Andy Burnham. The EU apparently delayed a Brexit reset summit because they'd rather wait for Burnham, a self-described Remainer who once cheerfully advocated rejoining the single market. You know what that means. Free movement back through the side door while wearing a disguise and pretending it's something else entirely. Quick favour, if you're loving this content, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It's free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show.
Are you?
Trying to predict the future and what might happen. You can speculate on that.
But we're talking about what you'd be willing to do.
All I know, well, I said what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to lead reform, which is currently between 9 and 10 points ahead of everybody else in the polls. All we need to do is get another 3 or 4%, and we'll have a majority government with a very, very clear, firm set of commitments to bring about radical change.
Have you spoken to Kemi Badenoch personally about any possibility of any deal?
No.
There's been no conversation. Right, now, you're going to get cross with me, but I'm going to ask you about this. This 5 million quid that you took as a gift from the crypto millionaire Christopher Harborne, who lives in Thailand. You've described it variously as something that would pay for your security for years because of the huge physical threats that you do face, and I'm very aware of that. You've also talked about it being a reward for all your work on Brexit. Harborne has given, many millions more to the party, which has been declared. You did not declare this money because you said it was a private gift. You weren't in Parliament. You're now being investigated by the Privileges Committee. This is being thrown around on social media, has been hugely damaging to you. Do you regret not declaring that money?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a purely private matter. It had nothing to do with politics whatsoever. I don't believe the rules in any way suggested that I should. So I didn't. And it wasn't a donation, it was a gift. It was an unconditional gift. All right? Now, as for his motives for doing that, well, I think he thought that maybe having given up a quarter of a century of my life, given up a good career in the City of London, faced all the abuse, perhaps he thought I deserved it. But that's irrelevant. It was an unconditional gift. So whether, and I made it very clear that I will need to have protection until the day I die, whenever that is, and none of us, of course, quite know the answer to that, and that would be its primary purpose. But frankly, I can do with the money as I wish. It is with the Standards Commissioner. I believe, having looked very carefully with lawyers, at the rule book, that I'm in the right.
Most people think of a gift as, I don't know, a bottle of champagne, a box of chocolates, not 5 million quid. Do you understand why most of us find it absolutely impossible to believe that someone who lives on the other side of the world, no matter how much he loves Brexit, and I don't think anyone loves it more than you and me, that they would go, you know what, Nige, love you, here's 5 million quid, no strings attached. Do you understand why that, frankly, is not believable?
I think you'll find he voted in Hampshire, so I think you'll find that's where home, actually. But whatever. Yeah, they may well do. And people inherit vast sums of money and all sorts of things happen in life.
He's not your dad. You didn't inherit it.
People inherit money.
He's a crypto billionaire living on the other side of the planet, and he gave you... But again, you talked about, you said this is an unconditional gift. Yeah. Is it a gift, a reward, or is it for your security? Because
no, it's an unconditional gift. I can spend it on Ferraris if I wish to. All right? So
are you spending it on Ferraris, or are you spending it on your security?
It's none of your business.
The thing is, when politicians get freebies, even if it's before they're politicians, the rules are very clear that if it's before up to a year before you become elected as an MP, and I do accept that at the time that you were given this gift, you were not an MP and you were not planning to return at that time. I'd had conversations with people in Reform around that time. Nevertheless, the rules state that you should declare that money.
No,
but did you think that Keir Starmer should have declared his free suits from Lord Ali?
Well, they were political.
How is a suit political and £5 million, more money than most people would ever think of or ever earn or enjoy in their lives? How can that not be political?
By the way, this is a hugely successful British business.
Good for him.
All right, which is a good thing.
Yes, good for him.
Yeah. Julia, it's a private thing. It wasn't a political donation. If you read the rules carefully, I've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Then why is there a Standards and Privileges Committee investigation into you? And why has this done so much damage?
Because it has to you, and it has to the London media class, but it didn't.
No, I don't think that's fair. When I first heard, I don't think I am typical of that class, and I understand your security needs. I think you know now that it was a mistake not to declare that money.
No, I don't. And I spoke to hundreds of people in Wakefield, walking up and down streets over 4 days of campaigning, but only one person raised it as an issue. Only one person raised it as an issue.
Are you cooperating fully with the committee?
Of course, but there isn't much to say.
Wouldn't it be easier? Declare it, show the receipts for what you've spent it on for security. Round-the-clock security costs an absolute fortune, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Job done.
This is an unconditional gift, all right? And I was reported, as the local elections came up, that the chairman of the Conservative Party, they were terrified of what we might do. And of course, we did wipe out the Conservative.
Reform UK, meanwhile, claims it's ready. Candidate vetting underway, snap election preparations since May. And yes, there's the small matter of a £5 million gift from a crypto billionaire. Farage calls it private, unconditional, perfectly legal. Critics call it suspicious. Only one voter brought it up during canvassing in Wakefield, which either means voters don't care or they're deeply, deeply distracted. And now, enter Andy Burnham. The EU apparently delayed a Brexit reset summit because they'd rather wait for Burnham, a self-described Remainer who once cheerfully advocated rejoining the single market. You know what that means? Free movement, back, through the side door, while wearing a disguise and pretending it's something else entirely.
I believe it is. I believe it's purely personal.
Let's end on a happier note for both of us. As I said, today marks the Brexit referendum 10th anniversary. Just one final note. I asked you earlier whether you thought the people in government at the moment were actually going to try and take us back into the EU by hook or by crook, by the back door. Do you think if they did, if any of the parties did actually win next election, it wasn't you, but another party on the left, and they were promising a referendum on rejoining the EU, do you think the British people would vote to rejoin?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. To vote to join, to go back to giving £20 billion a year as a contribution, to commit to joining the euro, not a chance.
Nigel Farage, it's a happy 10th anniversary for us. It's going to be a very interesting few weeks in British politics, perhaps a very interesting few years as well. Leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage MP, thank you very much.
Here's the bottom line. Brexit was never just about the EU. It was about who actually governs Britain. And 10 years on, that question remains spectacularly unanswered. Thanks so much for watching. Genuinely means everything.